Hey guys! I haven't done much the past couple days. I've been pretty tired. Just normal self, not being able to fall asleep until 4 in the morning and then sleeping all day, which is what I did today. But I received a phone call from someone responding to my Craigslist ad for her, for little Slinky. He might come by later tonight to meet her. I'm going to close my window so everyone can't hear me. What? You took my seat. You took my seat. Oh, so much yelling. So I just wanted to have a little chat about how I decided on which cat to give away and the sort of struggle I've had on deciding if I'm going to keep the cats with me or find homes for all of them. And I'm sure for anyone that has had to move either to a new house or apartment that doesn't allow pets, or to another state, or just a long move in general, and you had pets, then you know how tough of a decision this is. I have always had pets pretty much my entire life. These glasses are driving me nuts. I've always had pets my entire life. And as I started getting older and traveling around and moving and living my life, I had to leave a lot of those pets behind. First was my little Chihuahua that I got when I was 17, and she moved with me a lot until I went to college pretty much, and then she ended up staying at home, and now my dad and my stepmom just love her. And I had a snake for a while, and when I went to college I also had to find him a home. It wasn't too difficult, but I had him for a long time. Many years. Actually, before college, when I still had my Chihuahua, I got 2 kittens. It was when I first moved out on my own. I had my own little cabin in the woods, literally, and I was working 2 jobs, and I lost one of my jobs, and I couldn't afford the cabin anymore. And I had to move back home, and my dad's like deathly allergic to cats, so I had to find a home for the cats, and that was really, really sad. But it was circumstance, and I was only 18 or 19, and I had really no choice, And then the next kitten I got when I was in college was Monkey, and I had to find a home for her when I joined the military, and that was really tough, and I actually have no idea where she is, and that's like kind of embarrassing to say, because I left her with one of my sorority sisters, and I think she kind of got moved around with them. My boyfriend at the time wouldn't take her, which was really upsetting. So I don't really know where she ended up. So when I got out of the military, I hadn't had a pet for like over 2 years, and it's really hard for me not to have a pet. One, because I really feel a need to care for something, and 2, for emotional support. That's just how it's always been for me, and I don't really care what people think about that. So I got out of the military, and I was living with someone. He really wanted a dog, and he was about to go on deployment. He was still in the military. The day he left for his deployment, I got a puppy. I'd been thinking about it for a while, and I just got my own apartment. It was kind of like, it was the first place I had that was pretty much mine, since my cabin in the woods was really excited and I could have pets. So I got this wolf hybrid puppy. It was really just a shepherd malamute mix, and I named him Kuma. And actually, so I named him Kuma, which I think it means bear, because when he was a puppy, he was just like this giant ball of adorable fluff. So I had just gotten out of the military. I got him a month later, and so I had 24/7 to spend with this dog. And I mean, literally every second of the day. I wasn't working. I didn't have anything to do. So I just spent all my time training him. Actually, before I got him, I got my cat Violet. I got her first because I was married and my ex-husband was allergic to cats, and we separated, and I decided to get a cat now that I could. And so I got my ragdoll Violet, and I got her in 2011, so she's like 3.5. Anyways, so after I got her, I got Kuma, and just trained this dog so well. He's just so sweet, so amazing. He got so big. He was like 85 pounds. So we lived in California for a while, and this was him as a puppy. He's so freaking cute. And this was him like mid-puppy, like getting bigger and all awkward and adorable. There's one more. Him in the grass being so cute. And so we were in California, and things got really tough, and I had to leave California. The three of us, my cat and my dog and me, all moved to Portland, Oregon. And before I left California, I got my cat Violet and I got Kuma. I sat down with them in the living room, and I just made this promise. I was like, for so many years, I've been getting pets and leaving them behind, and that's not what a good animal caretaker does. I just promised to them that I would never leave them behind, no matter what, that I would make it work, because I was taking them on in my life, and that was the promise that I was making them in the first place by bringing them into my home. So I made this promise, to them and to myself, and so we moved to Portland, Oregon. Things were really rough there, but we all went through a lot, as weird as it is, like me and this dog and this cat, like we went through a lot. And Violet had unintentionally become an outdoor cat, which I was not happy about, but the guy I was renting a room from just had no regard for what I wanted and wouldn't pay attention and would just let her outside, and then or not even pay attention to her trying to get outside. Cat hair on my face. It was driving me nuts. I was like, all right, well, I'll get all the shots that she needs so she can be safe outside, and she'll be an outdoor cat, I guess. And every night I'd go out and I'd call for her, and she'd come running, and she'd come in at night, until one day she didn't come. And it was really unusual. And that night, actually, I went all around our little neighborhood calling for her, and whenever I would call her, she'd start meowing before she started running home, and so I knew she was coming, and I could hear her little bell. And so I went all around the neighborhood calling for her, and I couldn't find her, and I was dying inside, just thinking about, someone probably stole her, because she's a purebred cat who I was letting outside like an idiot. Someone probably stole her, or worse, she's dead. And I think the next day I was up all night, I couldn't sleep, and I was just miserable. And I had woken up, or I was in bed, maybe I had fallen asleep at 5 in the morning, and I woke up to this meowing, and she was outside my window, just laying down, almost as if someone had placed her there, and she was meowing, and I was like, oh my god, you're okay. But she wasn't. She was okay, but she had gotten hit by a car, and I don't know how she had gotten home. She couldn't walk, and we spent a good 2 weeks just in bed together, me caring for her, and I feel like we really, really bonded. And she's my rock kitty. She knows when I'm upset, and she comes and she lays with me and lets me pet her. And I feel like I'm that for her now too. And any situation where she feels unsafe, she looks to me for comfort and to be reassured that it is safe. So we have a really strong bond. And I had a really strong bond with my dog as well, because I had spent so much time with him. Granted, he drove me nuts because he was a puppy, and puppies are a lot of work, They shit and piss everywhere, and they chew things, and, it was a lot of work. Anyways, when I finally found a job, it was in where I am now, in Tucson, Arizona, and I did not have a car, and so I was going to have to fly from Oregon to Arizona, and there's no way I could bring this 85-pound dog. You know, I tried to find all my options, and I think I mentioned in another video that I couldn't rent a car. I couldn't afford it anyways. I was living on unemployment, which was about $700 a month. I was renting rooms, and so paying rent, and so I had very, very little money. And so I had to find a home for Kuma, and I found this really great couple who had just gotten married, and they were ready to take on a dog, and she sends me pictures, and it's like a really great situation for him, because he would have been miserable down here anyways, and as hard as it was for me to break that promise, I knew it had to be done, and I'm glad in hindsight, because it is so damn hot in Tucson that you can only walk your dog during certain hours of the day during the hot months, which is like all year round, except for maybe 3 months out of the year. And there's like no yards, there's no grass. It's not really a dog-friendly community, unlike California was. He would have been miserable, and I would have been miserable, because I wouldn't have been able to let him have good, fun outdoor time. So it was a good situation. Now here I am, getting ready to go to Thailand, and I've got 3 cats. And I emailed a company to get a quote to get all 3 cats to Thailand. And it was $6,000, over $6,000 for all 3. And I have 2 months, and this was actually only started getting planned about 2 months ago. So I didn't have enough time to start saving that much money. And so I've been going back and forth still about, do I find homes for all of them, or do I bring them all? Do I only bring some? And what I've concluded, and what I'm really going to try to do, is bring 2 of my cats to Thailand and find a home for Slinks here. And this was a super, super tough decision, because, Slinks is the last member of the family. I got her last year. She's the youngest. She's super sweet. I mean, she's like annoyingly affectionate, but it's adorable, and you know, she's so loving, and she's great. Everybody loves Slinks. But every time I thought about giving up Violet, my ragdoll, or my Sphinx cat, Kevin, who I got the beginning of last year, I think I got him in March last year, I start like hyperventilating. I start feeling like I'm gonna have an anxiety attack, because I can't picture a life without them. And everyone I've talked to are like, you're crazy, like you're being held down by these animals, you can't go and do what you want, why are you doing this to yourself? So everyone I've talked to, literally everyone, is telling me to find a home for all my cats so that I can travel and not feel weighed down. And everyone's like, that's why I don't want kids, or I don't have a pet because I know I'll be stuck somewhere. I'm like, no, like that's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. You know, I know how much easier it would be if it was just me and I didn't have the responsibility of these 2 little kitty lives, but I do, and I took them on, and that is my purpose as an animal caretaker. I have made this promise to them by bringing them into my home that I will care for them and do what's in their best interest. Just feel like it's the right thing to do, and I'm sure a lot of people will think that, hey, Slinks, I'm sure a lot of people will say that's selfish. And sure, it is. I want these guys by my side to make Thailand be just a little bit less lonely, because it's going to be lonelier than it is here in Tucson, and Tucson is really lonely for me. I mean, how do you make this decision? I mean, how does someone decide that they can just give away something that means so much to them? And I've done it before, and I see people do it all the time, and I feel like it's a really tricky situation. also a very expensive one. I can't leave them behind. The next thing is finding a place to live in Thailand that will let me have the cats. And I've emailed a lot of real estate companies in Thailand, and they've sent me some options, and some of them I've really liked. But most of them say wait until like the middle of December, because then we'll have a better idea. So there's definitely going to be some options. Unfortunately, it's leaning more towards house options, which are a little pricier, but still totally affordable, rather than the condo options. I don't think I found a single condominium that allows cats or pets in general. So I'm excited, but I'd like to hear anyone's feedback on if they've had to give up pets, and if they gave up all of them or some of them, and how you came to that decision. It would just be interesting to know, because it's a tough thing and it's sad, but I hope that I can find a really good home for Slinks, because she's a really great cat. I know that there's going to be a family out there that appreciates her even more than I do, which of course it would be anyone's goal for rehoming a pet. Let me know your story. I would love to hear it. Bye.